Hey everybody, my friends, Romans and countrymen, I am back. Yeah, so I've been gone, I know, for like 2 or 3 weeks now. I've been absent. Sorry about that, but you know, life catches up to you. What can you do? And I actually have, I try to do a bunch at once so that I have stuff to post, but the thing is, the stuff that I have isn't finished. It's like in progress builds. So, of course, I didn't want to post anything that's not finished, at least to a certain point. So yeah, I went ahead and did this today because I just kind of felt like it. I've been in kind of a slump, but this helped. Um, so yeah, this is the Tremaine Estate, or the Tremaine Manor, who is the evil evil stepmother from Cinderella. So yes, in case you didn't know, the stepmother and the stepsisters both have, or all three, not both, all three of them actually do have names. Very few people actually know those names. I happen to be good, so here I can tell you guys. Yeah, so the stepmother is Lady Tremaine, and the two stepsisters are, what are they? Anastasia is the pink-dressed one, and Drizella is the green-dressed one. So that's cool, right? So this is technically, I think, Cinderella's house, because, I mean, it was her father's house, and then her dad marries the stepmom, and then her dad dies, so the stepmom gets the estate and not her. So I guess technically this is like this estate of whatever her father's name was. I don't know how it would have worked. But yeah, but this is just the Tremaine Estate, and that's what I'm going to end up calling it from now on. So if you see that, that's what this is. This is a Cinderella build based directly on the house that you see in the Cinderella animated film from 1950, I want to say. Yeah. And so I got some cool screenshots of the house, both inside and out, to see what it looked like and how things were supposed to connect and all that, all that jazz. And just like my other builds, if I'm trying to make an accurate build based on something that's already been created, like a Disney build, my need to make things very accurate is very strong. And because of that, my builds tend to take a bit longer than they should. Like this house, by the time I'm finished with it here at the end of this video, you'll see it's actually a pretty straightforward looking manor. It's actually not that intense, but I wanted to make sure, you have to have that floor plan in your head, and you have to kind of map out things, because they never give you a floor plan in a movie, especially like the old animated films. Everything is just kind of like, what do you call it? Like watercolory almost. It's like things are just kind of meshing together, and there's not a great floor plan. You kind of have an idea of where things are, and you have to kind of just guess and check and hope for the best, and that's what I did for this manor. The other thing that I did, I had to use a lot of the Constrain Floor Elevation tool to make all of the sections come together, because it's the couple pictures that we do get of the manor, you can clearly see that the center of the house has a foundation, and then there's like two sections on the left and right of the house that don't have foundations, which is confusing as heck, right? But I managed to pull that off. So I did a lot of the really hardcore technical stuff off camera, where I was just sitting there staring at it, how the heck am I gonna get this together or pull this together so that when I go to furnish it, it'll be the way that I want it to be. As far as furnishing goes, I guess just so you guys know, this is not furnished by the end of this video. This is just the outside of the house. The outer build, there will be a part 2 to this build. Yeah, so that with the interiors, and the interiors are always way more fun, at least for me, than the exterior, because it's at least I have a contained space and I know what I'm doing. You can kind of focus on one room at a time, so it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming as a big blank lawn. But otherwise, though, this turned out all right. I'm happy with this. I think this is gonna be a pretty legit Cinderella house, or stepmother house, whatever it's called, right? Yeah, oh my goodness, all this, yeah, so the Constrain Floor Elevation tool, I don't know, I have trouble with it. I appreciate it for all it's worth. By the time you get to where you need to be, it's worth it, but the process of it is so frustrating to use that cheat. because it just, things always get messed up, and I have like this little like nervous twitch. It's like whenever the walls go up where they're not supposed to go up, I'm like, oh no, and I have to fix it. When really the constrained floor tool, it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. It's like you have to finish one side of the Rubik's Cube, and then you're going to have to mess that up to get the other sides done. Or at least that's the theory. I've never actually completed a Rubik's Cube. My best friend can actually complete them in like a minute. It's crazy. I used to like walk around her house just messing up the random Rubik's Cube she's had just so she could fix them all before I left. Yeah, that's a thing. But so I guess in theory, the constrained floor elevation tool is kind of like that, where like you have to be prepared to mess up a severe amount of your house to get one section to look right, and then you put the rest of the section back. But for me, I like can't visualize that. I have to keep fixing things as they get messed up, otherwise I can't see where I'm going forward, and because of that, the tool just takes me a long time. But like I said, at the end, it's worth it. It usually ends up looking the way that I want it to, for which I am happy for. The only kind of section, I guess, that I wasn't as happy with as in other cases, there's a main staircase in the middle that you don't see, because I kind of try to do that off camera, the planning stage for the furnishing, which I haven't done yet, but at least now I have the floor plan laid out, so that will make that video much easier to handle since I have a floor plan. But the main stairs that are in the main entryway, foyer area, whatever, they're supposed to be these pretty like curving staircase, right? But we don't have a curving staircase, so I had to play around really hardcore to make that work, and it was annoying. But yeah, I guess it's there now. What can you do? And the other thing is in Cinderella's tower, it's supposed to be like this really drafty, like empty tower thing that just has like staircases going up around the edges. And for the life of me, I could not get staircases to work in that silly tower. Even the spiral ones. I had some spiral staircases in there at one point, and the floor levels were just like being mean. It wouldn't let me put roofs on, and then when I put the roofs on, I went to put the stairs back. It wouldn't let me do that. It was just so annoying. So now there's ladders in there, which almost seems even more like dank. Poor Cinderella. She has to climb ladders to get to her bed in the drafty tower attic. Yeah. So while I was building this, it was actually funny with that silly tower. I kept calling it Rapunzel's tower because, of course, Rapunzel is the classic princess with a tower. And I'd be like, okay, let's just keep working on Rapunzel's tower. Wait, no, it's Cinderella's tower. So I guess I never really realized that, though, before that Rapunzel is not the only or the first princess with a tower. I guess even, in fact, if you kind of want to think about it, Sleeping Beauty has her, like, the tallest room of the tallest tower where she falls asleep, or something like that. Or maybe that was Shrek. I don't even know. But, so yes, at this point, I basically have the outside of the house complete. It's a very long house. Like, it doesn't have much depth to it going from the front to back. It goes left to right very far. And it has all the windows. I liked the plethora of windows on this house. That is the one thing. And I found a couple windows that just worked really perfectly according to the picture references that I had. And those were the ones I used a lot. And they were very nice. It was nice and easy for once. I usually spend like a lot of time just scrolling through windows trying to find the perfect fits for different sections. And this was a nice manor because I think I used a total of 3 or 4 different windows, and that was it. So it was really convenient. I was very happy about it. Yeah, so that's always nice when like that kind of stuff happens. Let's see. I guess in case you don't know, like I said, this is for my Cinderella. This is Cinderella's house. I also have Cinderella's castle, as in the one from Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. That is finished in 2 parts, also on my channel. You can go check it out if you'd like to see it. That turned out pretty darn good, actually. I was pretty proud of that castle, especially the landscaping on it, because I suck at landscaping. You will see that by the end of this building, this estate does not have very elaborate landscaping because it's supposed to be kind of like in the woods and kind of in disrepair. Because the Tremaines, they're kind of broke, actually. I mean, the only servant that they have in their whole household is Cinderella, and she's supposed to be like she lives there. It's like she's not even getting paid. So Cinderella is the one who has to cook the meals and clean the house and care for the grounds. So if the grounds get a little shabby, that would be my reasoning behind it. So I tried to make things a little bit more scruffy. Like there's less flowers, there's less like actual gardening. It's just more like collections of overgrown plants, I guess. And that's how the landscaping on this house ended up looking. But yeah, but not too bad though overall, I think. And yeah, and the other thing is the wallpapering. In case you don't notice there, it's kind of good that there's like this plaster texture for the outside of the house, because if there was like brick or something, all the constrained floor areas, like where the textures just get warped, like that would have shown up so much worse, because of the simplistic nature of the wallpaper. It was easy to hide. Another thing which I'm thankful for. A lot of things just kind of fell into place for this, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So that's pretty good, huh? The other thing that you will notice at one point, I changed the color of the roofs. I've used it in other builds, and I haven't really thought to make any mention of it, which I guess is silly, but I probably should. But there's somebody, I'm so sorry that I don't know their name off the top of my head right now, but there's a modder on Mod the Sims, Mod the Sims, Sims 3 of course, and basically what they've done is they've taken the standard shingled roof style, and they've just made every color of the rainbow in it. So there's of course you have all the standard EA roof colorings that come with the different expansion packs, but then there's like the rainbow, and that's like, I've used one of the blue colorings on the Cinderella's castle. I used like a kind of in-between gray color on this one, on this estate. But those different colored roofs just come in really handy, because that is one of the suckier parts of the Sims 3 roofing, is that you cannot recolor the dang things. Like, why? It's like annoying, you know? And the other thing is that you can't recolor the brick chimney feature that comes from the fireplaces. I usually end up deleting chimneys more often than not, because I don't like the way they look with the rest of my house. Yeah. So now the roof is on, and you can see it's like that kind of like gray color, which is kind of the color they have in the pictures. It's really not that exciting of a house or of a manor to look at from the outside. But it is fun on the inside. I am excited to do the inside of this one. Like I said, I've gotten all my reference. In case you do wonder, the place that I get my reference from for my Disney builds is from a place called Disney Screen Caps, which is a website, and it's the most amazing thing ever. You can use it for reference, and I use it a lot throughout art school. It's great. Because it's basically where whoever is in charge of that site, or whatever team, I have no idea, they basically sit down and taken a screenshot of pretty much every frame for every single Disney and Pixar film out there. And so you can literally just scroll through each frame and look at each part of the movie, and it is amazing. Like, I have found angles of houses and castles, and just really funny frames too, like funny stop frames of in-between animations of people with just crazy eyes or broken like arms and stuff because they're in the middle of extreme motion. Like, some of the screen caps they grab are just hilarious. And of course it's Disney, so it's like, you think everything's so simple. It's not. Like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. So at this point you can see that we are getting toward the end of the build now. And I am into the landscaping section, because I've finished coloring the outside of the manor, and now I'm trying to figure out what the heck to do. I did some really gross thing with those round bushes there for a second before I thought better of it and fixed it myself. The other thing you'll see of those vine packs, I honestly have no idea where I got those, but I use them prolifically. I feel bad about that too, because like, I always try to make note of where I get the things that I use all the time, the mods at least. If it's like a single dress or something, then I usually forget, and I feel bad about that too, but I can disclaim it that it's not mine if it's CC content or custom content. But if it's an item or set of items that I use a lot, I try to remember who the modder is and try to thank them. Those vines, I don't know. I cannot for the life of me remember where I got them from, or like what site, what their name was. I used them a lot. They look beautiful, and they just like they work really well too, because there's like a whole set of them that go around corners and into corners. They're just great. Um, if you know where that set of ivy vine things comes from, let me know so I can shout out some credit, because oh my goodness, I've used those a lot. I love vines. Vines are beautiful, wondrous things to have, especially when you do older style houses like I do. So you'll see here, of course, that I'm doing a brief little section of the farm. There is a little tiny moment in the movie. It's not that big. It's where Cinderella goes outside of like the little kitchen area, and there's a farm kind of thing going on outside. And there's definitely a horse pen, like with the stable kind of thing going on. And there's definitely a chicken coop, and there's a well out there. So that thing in the back corner, that was my take on it, the Sims style take on the farm in the Cinderella film. So yeah, it's not that extravagant. Again, I tried to keep things pretty simple. But yeah, and that's pretty much the beginning. And then my shabby landscaping, you can see it happen now, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna put bushes down. Hope. Yeah. I am sorry about that, but you know, what can you do? Practice, I guess, makes perfect. And this is one of the first things that I've done in a few weeks, and I'm a little bit out of practice because of that. Yeah. But I guess the other weird thing was that section in the front of the house that has no windows. I don't know why it has no windows, but that's how it is in the pictures. And as you guys know, if you have seen my other videos, I'm a stickler for accuracy. That's what I do. It's what I live for. So I was not about to put windows where there's not windows. And it actually kind of works out, because that section lines up with Lady Tremaine's room on the second floor. And her room is really dark in the movie. Like, there's like a single window, and that's it. So because there's so few windows on that front section of the house, it helps line up, which is cool. Let's see. The last thing that I'm adding here, as you can see, is this back willow glade area. This is in the film where Cinderella goes running out crying because her stepsisters have ripped up her pink dress. And this is where she meets her fairy godmother, and this is, you know, where she gets her whole gown get up and goes off to the ball. I wanted to include that on the actual grounds because I thought it would be cute, because this was supposed to be, I think, her mom's garden or something like that, and now it's just like this derelict well and a nice, pretty willow tree. I did end up popping in some buy the bug things, which I thought were pretty clever. Like I put a bunch of pumpkin vines there because, you can't have Cinderella without pumpkins, right? And of course, I also put in a rodent spawner in the farm section, because, you know, Cinderella has all of her little rodent friends, like Gus Gus and, oh my gosh, I forgot the other one's name. Is it like Jacques or something? I think. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, little mice friends. But yeah, so there is a rodent spawner out there. I don't know if it's actually going to spawn mice or not, but it's out there, right? Throwing in a little tiny bit of night lighting, and now we are on the screenshots. So again, they're not very exciting, but you will see here in a second the reference photos that I used. And when you compare them to that, I think I did a pretty good job. There it is right there. That is ref. So good, so grand. Love them. Sorry. Yeah, so that's the Cinderella house. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.